And please welcome one man on a mission to solve that problem, Mr. Dick Smith.
Thank you.
Now, Dick, you spent 6 months making a doco on this topic for the ABC. Why are you so concerned about population control?
Because not so much control, but there's no plan. And our Prime Minister, our last Prime Minister said, I welcome a big Australia of 36 million. Well, I stopped and thought, hold on, we don't have enough water now. We're desalinating everywhere. What would an optimum population be? I went to the CSIRO and they said, well, we don't really know because no one's game to do the study. So I thought at least we should have a plan.
So if you've got a problem with that figure, what's your target, say, by 2050? How many Australians should we have?
I don't know, but I do know the whole world has to stabilise its population. If you keep increasing and growing in a finite world, the whole thing ends up in doom. There's no doubt about that.
Dick, didn't you suggest 26 million?
No, I think I'm a disciple of Kelvin Thompson, the Labor backbencher, who I think said we could stabilise at about 26 million. I'd like to know what the facts are. In aviation, we do a safety study for an airline, so it's going to be safe for 25 years. Where's the safety study for Australia? We don't have one.
That's 4 million more than we got now, if it was, say, 26. So over 40 years? The arithmetic doesn't add up. That's only about 100,000 extra a year.
You
Surely
can't
we can handle
keep
that.
growing. George, you seem to have the idea of people of my age that you can keep growing forever. It's a finite world. You can't keep growing. So you're suggesting we stop growing when another generation has the problem?
No, I'm not. I'm saying why this magical figure of 4 million extra?
There's not a magic figure, but I do know in a finite world you can't grow forever.
But doesn't economics say that a bigger population means a stronger economy? That's more people to buy Dick Smith foods, more people to buy Dick Smith electrical stuff.
And you've spot on. For wealthy people like me and Rupert Murdoch, the bigger it is, the more money we make. But for typical Australians, it's all downhill from now on. There's the cake a certain size. Australia's worth so many $1 trillion. Double the population, everyone's worth half as much.
So what about the ageing population? I mean, don't we need more younger people to actually pay for the retirement of older people like you if you ever give up?
What you're describing is a Ponzi scheme and they're illegal. What you're saying is we bring more younger people in, but the problem is when they get older, then you need to bring even more people in to pay for them.
Are you
That's
saying
ridiculous.
we should get rid of old people? What are you saying?
Someone has suggested a mandatory euthanasia at 82, but I don't suggest that. I just think we've got to be sensible and plan for a stabilised population. The whole world has to do that.
This is sounding very dramatic. It's not like we're going to run out of food, you know. Is this
We could run out of food. How's this? In my documentary, which is on Thursday night on the ABC, you must mention that. We'll have to mention that here.
Well done, Dick.
I show a farmer who's actually bulldozing his crops because he's been paid a total of $50 million to these farmers because there's not enough water. At the same time when our previous Prime Minister was saying, I welcome 36 million. Now, you've got to add the two together.
So who do you close the door on then?
You don't actually close the door. You bring the immigration rate to about 70,000 a year, which is very high per capita by world standards, but that would tend to stabilise our population. The only reason we have borders is for self-interest. Young couples, when I was young, we could buy a house with a backyard. You're supposed to get wealthier every generation. Now a young couple can't afford to do that, and if they can, both of them have to work 50 hours a week and travel 2 hours. That's going backwards.
But I understand you don't believe in the baby bonus either.
Well, the baby bonus is ridiculous. To be encouraging people to have more kids when we don't have enough water now and we're desalinating. If there's ever a message from nature, if you have to start desalinating, you don't have enough fresh water, you've got too many people.
So how many kids would you say is an okay amount of kids?
My suggestion, rather than, I don't think there needs to be any control or anything like that, but we had a previous treasurer who said you should have one for each and one for the country. My suggestion, until we have a proper safety plan, is have one each, because then at least you know that there's a good chance your kids and grandchildren are going to have enough food to eat, and that's important.
Dick, you say there's no plan, but there's a plan for a plan. I mean, the Gillard government, such as it is at the moment, does have a Minister for Sustainable Population.
What a
Tony Abbott reckons he would. Yeah, whether it is or it isn't, right? You're saying there's no plan.
Right.
This is a relatively new issue, right? They have a plan. Tony Abbott has a plan just to cut migration. So come Saturday week, Dick, and if population control, sustainability or stabilisation, as you put it, was the issue, which way would you jump, mate? There's
no way. We need a new group of young politicians who say that our economy and our capitalist system has to work without constant growth. It can. If you have constant growth of resources and energy, you go to doom because it's a finite world. You already have to look at what's happening with the climate. More and more people create more and more problems.
Help us, Dick. Gillard or Abbott. Help us.
I couldn't say any difference between the two of them because they both don't have any proper policy on it.
But Gillard has no children, so maybe her for you. Tony Abbott